It started with a feeling, subtle, like the brush of a cold wind across the back of your neck. That unshakable sense that someone, somewhere, was watching you. No footsteps, no shadows, just silence and suspicion. But when God whispers, it's not always in loud thunder. Sometimes it's in the quietest warnings. And you were too distracted to hear them. But now, someone is watching your house. And the reason isn't just terrifying, it's personal. Rhea had always believed in staying busy. Wake up, hustle, succeed, repeat. She lived alone in a modest house on the outskirts of the city, safe enough to avoid the chaos, yet distant enough to fall through the cracks of attention. After a toxic relationship and years of emotional betrayal, she had finally chosen peace, rebuilding her life piece by piece. But peace, as she was about to learn, is not always permanent. The first signs were small. A garden gnome out of place, footprints by the side gate, the sound of gravel shifting when there shouldn't be any movement at all. She brushed it off. "It's probably a dog," she whispered to herself one night, locking the back door a little tighter. But even then, something tugged at her soul, something ancient and divine, like a soft bell ringing in the heavens. God was trying to tell her something, but her world was too loud with logic to hear it. One evening, just after sunset, Rhea sat by her kitchen window, scrolling mindlessly through her phone. The screen reflected her face faintly in the glass, until it didn't. For a moment, she could swear there was a figure behind her reflection, tall, still, watching. But when she turned around, there was nothing, only shadows. Later that night, the wind howled unnaturally, not like nature, like whispers, the kind that carries secrets. She shut every window, every blind, every door. Her heart pounded with irrational fear. But again, she convinced herself, it's just the wind. I'm overthinking. But it wasn't. The next morning, her neighbor, Mr. Dowen, a retired colonel known for his sharp eyes and slower pace, called out to her from across the fence. "Rhea, did someone visit your place last night?" She paused. "No. Why?" "I saw someone standing near your porch around midnight. Didn't knock. Didn't move. Just stood there, watching your front door." Her blood ran cold. That evening, she did everything right. Locked every point of entry, turned on exterior lights, even kept her phone charged. Yet deep inside, she couldn't help but feel like she was preparing for a storm she didn't understand. Like God was watching too, silent and solemn, hoping she would finally listen. That night, sleep didn't come easy. At 2:13 a.m., Rhea woke suddenly. No noise, no flash, just an instinct. Something was wrong. She tiptoed toward the hallway, wrapped in her blanket-like armor, and stopped near the front window. Her breath caught. Across the street, under the orange glow of a flickering street lamp, a man stood, not moving, not blinking, just watching her house. She couldn't see his face clearly, but she didn't need to. Her soul screamed. He was looking directly at her. Rhea stepped back, heart thudding like war drums. She closed the curtains, grabbed her phone, and dialed the police. They responded swiftly. Searched the street, checked the neighborhood, found nothing, no trace, as if he had never been there. But she knew. Something about his stillness felt deliberate, like a warning. Over the next week, her mind spiraled. She started questioning everything. Was she going crazy? Was it a hallucination born of trauma? But then a letter appeared. Not in the mailbox. No postage. No address. It was placed on her living room table. She stared at it, trembling. No break-in. No sign of entry. Just those heavy words scribbled in crimson ink. You chose silence when you were supposed to speak. Now the past watches you. Rhea dropped the note, hands trembling. Tears welled in her eyes, not from fear, but from guilt, because deep down she knew what it meant. 2 years ago, during her previous relationship, something terrible happened. Her ex, Raj, had hurt someone badly, a girl named Anya, who had begged Rhea for help. But Rhea, too afraid of Raj, said nothing, turned a blind eye, chose silence over justice. Anya vanished a week later. No trace, no closure. And now, That silence had returned, watching her. Rhea fell to her knees, sobbing, whispering prayers she hadn't uttered in years. God, please? I'm sorry. I should have spoken. I should have saved her. I didn't know it would haunt me like this. Please tell me what to do. The wind picked up again. This time, she didn't ignore it. She listened, and within its whispers, she felt a presence. Not evil, but powerful. Holy, like God was near, still silent, still patient, still hoping she'd act. She had one choice left, to break the silence. The next day, Rhea called the police again. But this time, she gave them everything. She told them about Raj, about Anya, about the night she saw bruises on her arms, the cries behind closed doors. She handed over Raj's old messages, phone recordings, and locations she remembered. She didn't care if she was late. She just wanted the truth out there. As she sat at the police station, watching the officers take a report, she felt the first breath of peace in weeks. Maybe justice would come. Maybe the ghost of her silence would finally sleep. But just as she got home that night, a chill ran through her again. Her door was open, not broken into, just wide open, and on the floor lay another note. This time it read, "Now that you've spoken, you're ready to hear the whole truth." Rhea stared at the open door, her pulse a steady thunder in her ears. The note on the floor didn't feel like a threat anymore. It felt like a challenge, as if someone or something was inviting her deeper into a truth she had long buried, a truth she had tried to forget, but which had never forgotten her. With trembling fingers, she picked up the note. "You're ready to hear the whole truth." She stepped into her home, every corner echoing with the weight of unspoken memories. She checked each room, nothing disturbed, everything seemingly untouched, except for the attic. The small wooden hatch above the hallway was cracked open. She hadn't opened it in years, not since Raj had stayed there briefly during their worst months. Her hands hesitated. She didn't want to climb up, but something inside urged her, stronger than fear, the same divine nudge she had ignored for too long. She pulled down the ladder and climbed slowly. The attic was musty, lit only by the thin beam of her flashlight. Boxes, old photographs, and a trunk she didn't recognize lay in the far corner. That trunk, black leather with rusted locks, called to her like a whisper. She approached and pried it open. Inside were items she hadn't seen before, a diary, a broken necklace, and a phone, an old, cracked model she didn't recognize. She opened the diary first. The handwriting was delicate, frightened. Anya's name was on the inside cover. Page after page revealed a story Rhea was never supposed to read. Anya had documented every torment she faced. Her fear of Raj, the manipulation, the beatings, but most shocking were the final entries. "He keeps talking about the attic, says it's the only place no one will hear me scream. He said his ex, Rhea, won't do anything. She's too scared, too loyal to lies." Rhea dropped the diary as tears blurred her vision. Her knees buckled. The phone in the trunk buzzed faintly. The screen flickered, miraculously alive. One video. One file. She opened it. The video was dark, the camera facing upward from the floor. A faint sobbing echoed. And then Raj's voice. Clear, vicious, bragging about what he'd done. About how no one would ever believe a small-town girl with no proof. But now there was proof. All of it. In her attic. God hadn't just been warning her about a watcher. He'd been guiding her to justice. Rhea handed the diary and the phone over to the authorities. What followed was swift. Raj was arrested within days. The video and journal were undeniable. But more chilling was what the investigators found during their deeper search. Bones. Buried behind a shed at his family's farmhouse. Anya had been there all along, and she had been waiting, not for vengeance, but for the truth. After the arrest, Rhea returned home, uncertain what kind of peace awaited her. She stood on her porch at sunset, watching the same spot where the shadowy figure had once stood. The street was empty now, but somehow she knew someone was still watching. But this time, it didn't scare her. This time, it felt like gratitude. A breeze swept past her, gentle, warm, carrying the faintest scent of jasmine. Anya's favorite flower. She remembered reading in the journal. Rhea closed her eyes and whispered prayer, not for protection, but for forgiveness, for the courage she finally found, and for all those who still live in silence, thinking no one sees them, because someone always does. Maybe not the world, but God, He sees everything. So if you felt that someone is watching your house, maybe you're right. But maybe, just maybe, they're not there to hurt you. Maybe they're waiting for you to remember what you tried to forget, to right a wrong, to speak a truth, to finally listen. Because when God says watch fast, He doesn't mean just with your eyes. He means with your soul. And if you're brave enough to face it, you'll see the truth was never hidden, just waiting